Hello, everyone. Here is what we're about to see is an interesting case. And interesting, I say this because there's a chance that you have already seen this, and that is because Discovery ID did an episode on this case. It's titled Dumped and Dangerous. It was on November 2017. So if you're a Discovery ID person, there's a decent chance that you've seen this. It's under the series Deadly Woman. And thank you, Richard, for sharing this information with me. I'll put the links down below if you want to see it. Now, it's an interesting case from what I've read. I don't want to give away any information, but we can go over it after the hearing. But with that, let's jump in. Let's see. Well, she's not ready yet. Well, we can probably fast forward until they're here. Okay. It's always hard to control YouTube. But in a nutshell, maybe we could just go over it a little bit until they get in. She was accused of murdering her lover's former lover's girlfriend in a jealous rage. She pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of manslaughter, as she was about to go on trial for the second-degree murder, and she received a maximum of 40 years. And she was 42 at the time. So this happened in August of 2023. Isn't it crazy that 2023 was not that long ago?
Good afternoon.
Or that long ago?
How you doing, Warden?
Good. How are you all?
Good. The Committee on Parole is reconvened at 12:53 at Louisiana Correctional Center for Women with the staff. And Warden, please introduce yourself.
Sure. Kristen Thomas, Warden.
Tara P., ARDC Manager. Amelia Washington, ARDC Supervisor.
Shamika Brown, Lieutenant.
And that's it.
Thank you, Warden Thomas. We're ready for our first case. Would you please introduce yourself and give your Department of Corrections ID?
Your name and DOC number.
Patricia Tito. My DOC number is 520167.
Yes, Tito. Good afternoon, Ms. Tito.
Did he say something to me?
She didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Ms. Tito.
Oh, hello. Hi. Forgive me, sir. I'm sorry, but I was born hearing impaired, so it may be a little difficult for me to hear you.
That's okay. Warden Thomas will take care of that. She will translate for me. My name is Alvin Roche. To my left is Ms. Pearl Wise. To my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. Once that information is in the record, we'll give Warden Thomas a chance to make some remarks and wishes. After that, we're going to hear from the DA's office, Ms. Alexandra Pobisky, in the DA's office. Go ahead.
Porupski, yes, sir. Thank you.
And which jurisdiction are you representing?
I'm an assistant district attorney with the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office. in the First Judicial District.
And the CCA will be given an opportunity to make a presentation at the appropriate time. After that presentation, we'll give you a chance to make a brief statement telling us why you released early, and then we'll vote. Understand the process.
Yes, sir.
It's Patricia Tito. You're currently 58 years old, and you're a first felony offender. Your offenses are manslaughter in Caddo Parish, and you were sentenced on March 7th, 2007. At that time, you got 1,280 days jail credit. Your parole date is September 1st, 2023. Your adjusted good time date is March 31st, 2037. And your full term date is September 2nd, 2043. You received a 40-year sentence for the manslaughter conviction. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Pearl Wise. Would you please answer Mrs. Wise's questions?
Good afternoon. How's it going?
Very well.
Good, good. You got a nice smile on your face. It's good to see.
Thank you.
Tell me, call out for the record how long you've been in jail on this charge.
This coming September 1st will be 20 years.
20 years as of September 1st, okay? Tell us why you are in jail.
A situation arose in 2003 in Caddo Parish. I was up there checking on my lake house, and I handled the situation wrong. And because I handled the situation wrong, I hurt an innocent person, and she was innocent. And I'm fully responsible for what happened.
When you said she, who you referring to? Who you hurt?
The lady's name is Judy Wynn. We had never met each other or seen each other before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Was it because you was trying to get back with a boyfriend that Judy
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not
boyfriend?
I'm sorry. No,
What was the situation that came up?
okay. The person that people often refer to, or the media rather referred to as a boyfriend, was nothing of the sort. We had a business transaction, and I was taken to the bank on a Friday, 10 minutes before the bank closed, by this person. And when they put a stack of papers in front of me to sign, I wanted to read them first. And he kept saying, we don't have time, we don't have time. They're trying to close the bank. Come on, this later. So I signed multiple signatures on a stack of papers at the bank. And unbeknownst to me, I signed a quit claim on property that I owned. And that's what happened.
And so what was your relationship with Miss Judy Wynn's boyfriend? Or was they husband and wife?
No, they, as far as I know, they didn't have a relationship either. He just happened to be at that location when I went to go see him. And like I said, it's my fault. I handled the situation wrong. I shouldn't have, but unfortunately, that's what happened.
And so why did you shoot him?
I don't have a logical, good explanation for that. I handled the entire situation wrong. I truly did. And it's
There was some indication in the record that you stated at the time of the arrest that you were going to shoot her in the leg or in the knee, but she was standing up over the sink washing dishes. So that wasn't true. That's that media stuff you were referring to earlier.
No, I never said anything about shooting. I read one article in the newspaper 20 years ago in the Shreveport Times, and everything in the paper was absolutely incorrect.
Okay.
So, no, ma'am.
So you trusted this young man to go to the bank with him and sign stuff. And
I
then where did that trust come from? What kind of relationship did y'all have?
He's actually older than me. He was friends with my mother for about 15 years. And when my mother introduced me to him when I had moved back to Louisiana from Las Vegas.
Okay.
But it was strictly a business deal.
Okay. So tell us what you've been doing this 19 years. What have you been doing?
Actually, the only good thing about being at LCIW in prison is they taught me how to sew. I worked in the garment factory at LCIW for 10 years. I absolutely loved it. I own my own sewing machine, and I currently sew and do hobby craft. I have completed the NCCER program. I completed the IC3 program. I've been on the waiting list for Microsoft. I'm currently supposed to be the next person to enter into the Microsoft program. I've been on a waiting list for sign language since last year, and they haven't had the program up and running yet, but they're supposed to sometime. And I work. I was an orderly twice at Angola at LSP. And
What? I didn't catch that. Say it again.
I was an orderly 2 different times, twice at Angola. When we had the catastrophic flood, August 16th of 2016, we had to borrow the old death row building at Angola for the ladies that were serving lockdown time to go and serve their lockdown time there. And I worked there 2 different times, and I absolutely loved my job up there. Even though I was only paid a small wager of incentive pay 5 days a week, I worked 7 days a week voluntarily because I felt like I was paying for my privilege to be able to have that job. It's a very well trusted trustee job at Angola. I wish it was still there, honestly.
Oh, so what is your status now in terms of trustee? What's your status?
I'm told that I'm still minimum status. I'm still minimum status trustee, yes, ma'am. And I work in the inner yard every day as a groundskeeper, and I'm the unofficial snake catcher at LCIW.
Okay, you're that person. Okay. So what happened with the garment factory? Why you stop working there?
Well, unfortunately, we no longer have the garment factory. I'm hoping that when they do move in a couple of years to this location, yes, ma'am, the men unfortunately got to grab all of our contracts when we were forced to give up the garment factory.
I'm sure that the right people are working on that. I saw it. What's your marital status now?
Oh,
are you married?
Yes, ma'am. On paper. Yes, ma'am.
When did that happen? When did that transpire?
1991.
Oh, okay. This is before this offense. Okay, I thought it was a new.
Yes, ma'am. In Las Vegas. I'm sorry.
Okay, I thought it was a new marriage. Okay. This is and you got your high set since you've been down, right, in 2017. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I did. I took 6 hours of algebra class and took the test and passed.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. It's good right there. You were right there. And you got 155 days of programs. So call out the programs that meant the most to you that you've taken.
I'm sorry?
Tell us about the programs you've taken.
Definitely the IC3, the computer, because that's what I plan on doing. I've already spoken. I've had a Zoom meeting with Operation Restoration, and they're lining up coding classes for me so I can get some computer language classes under my belt if I am granted parole and able to go home. I'd like to be able to sit on the beach with my laptop and make money. That would be ideal. And with computer coding classes, you can work remotely from anywhere in the world.
That's true.
Work and save money for retirement. I'll be 60 years old next year. I don't know how this happened. I feel like I should still be in Vegas tearing up the strip when I was 25, but unfortunately I've gotten older and I'd love to be able to get out and work and earn money and save money for retirement.
Good thinking. That's real good thinking. And then one of the things that I appreciate about you that I saw in the record that you know, after, the shooting occurred, you turned yourself in to the police department. That
Oh,
was good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I would never abscond for any reason.
Mhm. But you do have law enforcement opposition, to your early release. I think it's going to be expressed here later on. And, the victim's family is opposed as well to your early release. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm just really, stating it for the record and making sure that, they know. If you had an opportunity to speak to your victim, what would you say?
I would say that I apologize for my actions that transpired. And there's absolutely nothing I know that I could do or say to replace their loved one. But I am responsible for everything. And I can promise you I'll never touch another gun as long as I live. I know that.
There was some, there's some indication that you were on some medication that you did not want to tell us about that.
Medication,
Medical meds.
I'm not sure.
Not sure about that?
No, I mean, no, I'm not understanding the question. I didn't hear the question clearly. Something about medication?
Yeah, are you being followed medically by anybody at the institution?
Followed medically?
No, it's for medical, for hypertension.
Oh, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure here at LCIW. Yes, ma'am. Is that what
Okay.
you're to?
I don't know, it really didn't tell us what it was, but it was just that you were not taking the medicine as prescribed. I wanted you to explain that to us, whatever the medication was.
Or the blood pressure and cholesterol were a little elevated.
Oh, I do have my blood pressure medicine, my cholesterol medicine, and the thyroid medication is probably what it is. I had stopped taking my thyroid medication for about 1.5 years because it was making my hair fall out. It was making my hair, it was called Synthroid, if that's what they're
I don't
referring to.
know, so you didn't tell us that, it just showed that you're not compliant
Yes,
with recommendation medication.
I do take it now. Yes, ma'am. I have all of that medication in my locker. I have what's called KOP, which means keep on person. And if you're
Okay,
trusted with medication, they give it to us and we keep it locked up in our locker and we take it as needed. And
okay,
I did stop taking my thyroid medication for about 1.5 years because my hair just became incredibly thin. And unfortunately, we don't have any hair extensions here.
okay. And, okay. And tell us about your write-ups. How many write-ups have you had in this 19 years?
Okay, when we were at the real LCIW, they called it doing a 90 because all that meant was if you got in trouble with the disciplinary infraction, you went to lockdown for 90 days. That was the norm. Ma'am, I've never done a 90 in the whole time I've been at LCIW, never. I want to say I had an expired inhaler and I had a write-up for that. All this was before 2016, but before the flood. The flood happened August 16th of 2016. And I know any write-up that I received before the flood.
But I'm showing one on April the 24th of 19 for a disobedience. Do you remember that one?
Oh, that might have been when I quit the garment factory. Did I get a write-up for quitting the garment factory?
So 19.
Oh, no, that couldn't have been because I was here at Jetson in 19.
It
What,
was what
I get a write-up for at Jetson?
a disobedience. You don't.
No, I don't. She's looking it up now because I honestly don't remember ever going to court here.
And then you had one in 8 for a 28 and 18. Do you remember what that was about? That was a work offense.
Yeah, the work offense for 18 would have been the garment factory. That's when I quit working at the garment factory at Hunt's, and they moved me from Hunt's over to here to Jetson. Now that did happen, yes, ma'am.
You said you loved the factory. Why did you quit?
Oh, I did. I love the fact that the garment factory we had at LCIW in St. Gabriel, that was a real garment factory. We had 84 employees. Our quota.
Tell me about the one you quit. Tell me about the one you quit.
Okay. That was a a modular building that they had set up at Hunt's. I transferred myself from Cottonport, where I was evacuated to, of Wells Parish, to Hunt's to get away from inmates because they had inmates taking drugs at Cottonport, and I didn't want to be around that. So I transferred myself from Cottonport to Hunt's. When I got to Hunt's, they put me in the garment factory right away. It was a modular building, and they had just a handful of employees working there. They only had one line running instead of the huge garment factory that I was used to. And honestly, they had basically turned that garment factory over to let certain inmates run the garment factory. And it just was not a good atmosphere to be in. So yes, ma'am, I did quit my job there for that reason. And I put myself in lockdown. I respectfully declined to work in the garment factory. I put myself in lockdown and I stayed there until I was transferred from Hunt's to over here to JCCY. That is.
But you still don't remember why you got the 5 and 19. You don't remember that.
Wait, what is that? Okay, she's trying to look it up now because I don't remember ever getting a report over here. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I drink so much Sweet and Low with my coffee, my memory is gone.
So now, if you're now, where would you live and how would you take care of yourself?
Okay, if you grant me parole, there's 3 choices, and I honestly, whichever one you tell me to go to, that's what I'm going to do. I intend to reside in Jefferson Parish is my first choice. Okay. To rent a house from Frank Marula in Grand Isle. I will also be working for him. I've entered all the home address that I will rent his house from is 133 Medical Lane in Grand Isle. I will work for him at Tommy's Restaurant on the beach in Grand Isle. Ms. P spoke to Frank today and Friday and got the information from him. My second choice would be to do an interstate compact to go to Illinois, but I would only be able to do that after I testify in a upcoming trial for Jefferson Parish. And because I'm going to testify in that trial no matter where I come from. My third choice is I've already had a Zoom meeting with Operation Restoration, and I have a paper in here stating that Catholic Charities is going to meet with me if I'm granted parole to also put me into transitional housing, as well as Operation Restoration is willing to do the same if you don't approve me renting the house in Grand Isle from Mr. Marullo or the interstate compact to Illinois. And honestly, if you tell me to go on the roof and do my parole time on the roof, that's where I'm going.
Okay. Oh. So you don't have any children, is that correct?
No, ma'am, I'm a cancer survivor. I had uterine cancer at an early age.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But you survived that, like you said, you survived.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking to me. Warren, what you want to tell us?
I think Ms. Tito has covered most of it, but she is minimum status offender. She is definitely a hard worker. What we have appreciated most, I know she talked about her time working as an orderly at the state penitentiary, and that is with our maximum security inmates. So that's not always an easy job. And she always did it professionally and always had great behavior out there. And she had a good rapport with the ladies who were doing their maximum segregation time. She is low risk and needs. And, you know, like I said, she's just a hard worker. She's currently finishing up her reentry class. So a few things, I think, you know, like I said, she covered most of it, but yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
And she had victim awareness? I didn't see.
No, ma'am, I don't believe she had completed that.
Okay, good. She has a high set, okay.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Awesome. But she's rated as a fair institutional record. You notice that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I had, Jim.
Mr. Bennett. Warren, I have a couple of questions. I see on her master record that she has a write-up. 1 second. on September 23rd, 2021. And while she was at Louisiana State Penitentiary.
That's the date that I went back to Angola the second time to be an orderly. That's the day I went.
Her,
September
her
23rd.
transfer record is gonna show LSP because she was living there as an orderly. She was not maximum security. So I don't have a write-up for 2021. I'm just showing that that's the date she transferred back to work as an orderly.
Right.
So evidently somebody hit the wrong button because on a master record is labeled as a disciplinary write-up.
Mhm.
Correct. We'll check on that. I'm sorry, but no, that's while she was working as an orderly. We'll get that corrected.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
Now, Ms. Tito, are you aware that you have an active warrant?
That is for Jefferson Parish. I'm testifying for Jefferson Parish in an upcoming trial. Okay. This is my letter of immunity. I don't know if they want copies or faxes from it. This is my letter of immunity from Sabine Parish.
We don't need it. We have all of that.
Okay.
Why would Jefferson Parish issue an active arrest warrant for a witness?
Okay. The only thing that I can think of, because this came in Friday. This came in Friday after I had met with Warden Thomas going over my parole packet. And within an hour after me leaving her office Friday morning, that's when this detainer came in. I was called back up here to be made aware of the detainer. The only thing that I can think of is why they would put that detainer on me less than 72 hours before my parole board hearing, is they're afraid that I may disappear and not testify for them. This is a 40-year-old cold case, and I am the only person that can clear this case up for them, and I fully intend to do so. I have told them everything they have wanted to know. I've been to Sabine Parish once. I've been to Jefferson Parish 2 or 3 times. Yes,
You
sir.
know, that's enough information.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Now, at this time, we'd like to hear from the Assistant District Attorney from Caddo Parish.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to the board. Again, my name is Alexandra Porupski. I'm an Assistant District Attorney for the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office. And as we indicated in our statement to the parole board, we are strongly opposed to parole release in this situation. From our office's standpoint, the extreme nature of this crime alone warrants a denial of parole at this time. But now we have the additional notice, which I was also notified on Friday, of the arrest warrant for second-degree murder for Ms. Tito, we have additional grave concerns for public safety, as well as the fact that Ms. Tito will also pose a potential flight risk. As it relates to the offense for which she was convicted, I want to clarify a few points. From reviewing the arrest warrant as well as the police reports in this matter, it does indicate that there was a romantic relationship between Ms. Tito formerly prior to the death of Ms. Judy Wynn, and that Ms. Judy Wynn was in a relationship with Mr. Shufflin at the time Ms. Tito shot and killed her. It also indicates that Ms. Tito had engaged in repeated and consistent harassment of Ms. Wynn prior to Ms. Wynn's death, including vandalizing her vehicle and leaving threatening notes on the vehicle, as well as leaving threatening voicemails. That's clearly differently from how she has described the situation, but this is based on the information that we have. And we do believe that, I actually find it very interesting that Ms. Tito is giving a very different version of events, which causes our office additional concerns. Again, we believe that given the heinous nature of this crime, that for her to serve anything less than the 40-year sentence she agreed to would deprecate the serious nature of this crime, and that she should be made to serve the entirety of her sentence. as I previously stated, we do have concerns about this new information regarding the second-degree murder arrest warrant that's currently active for her. I don't have any additional information as it relates to that. But once again, that does give our office serious concerns about public safety and potential flight risk. So we would ask that her parole be denied at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate the information.
Thank you.
Ms. Tito,
Yes, sir.
would you like to make a brief closing statement and keep that state information on why you think this panel should release you early?
Yes, sir. What the lady said was true. I did leave voicemail on Judy Wynn's recording device at her home the day before.
Ma'am, why should we release you early?
Because 20 years ago, I was a completely different person. I'm mature, I'm older, I am wiser. I am no threat to anyone in society. I am no threat to anyone anywhere. I simply wish to get out and follow God, do the right thing, work 7 days a week, preferably, and further my education, and honestly make money and be able to save money for my retirement. I don't wish to harm anyone, anywhere, at any time. I have learned my lesson. God got my attention these last 20 years. I can promise you that.
Thank you, Ms. Tito, and thank you for the compliance with your statement.
Thank you.
Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, I'm ready to vote.
Yes. Ms. Wise?
Yeah, Ms. Tito, I'm very concerned about you. There's the statements that you made, even the way you described the crime. Someone died. Someone died. I want to make sure you hear me. Someone died. You were standing outside the window and you shot and you killed someone. That's very disturbing, the way you portray the events today. It's very concerning for me. My vote is denied because of the impact of the crime. Insufficient time served, the nature of the offense, and your lack of remorse or insight into the crime. My vote, I'm only one vote.
Mr. Freeman?
Ms. Tito, due to opposition to law enforcement, and I feel there was a total lack of truthfulness, I also vote to deny.
Ms. Tito, you have received 2 votes to deny your request. I too agree with both of my colleagues. Both gave different reasons, but I agree with both my colleagues. My vote also is to deny. You have received 3 votes to deny your request. Your request for early release has been denied. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Warden Thomas, that concludes our business with Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. Time is 1:24. It's always a pleasure, Warden Thomas. You have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
Wow. Let's unpack that, huh? Because I don't know.
Okay, she's trying to look it up now.
It's like, what did we just watch? There is, yeah, I mean, Miss Wise was right when she, Miss Wise does the interviews. It's like she's nodding and smiling, and I'm like, how are you just gonna let it go? But she did save it to the end there. It's like when she described the murder, and she's like, oh, yeah, I don't know, she was doing dishes and she died. And it's like, what did she think? She really thought that she can walk up into this parole hearing and just sweet talk her way into getting paroled. To me, that's just absolutely fascinating that she's like that she's like convinced herself that she was going to get through this. It's almost, it's almost fascinating to watch. What she said, that she's almost 60, and she still feels like she's 25 tearing up the strip in Vegas. And I think she does think she's still 25 tearing up the strip in Vegas, but sorry, honey, you're not. You're in front of the parole board, and you're not flirting your way through a bunch of dudes out of your way out of prison here. Like I said at the beginning, they have a whole series, not a whole series. They have an episode on her, Discover ID, Dumped and Dangerous. It aired on 2017. And even then, she was pretending that she read one newspaper article. Yeah, like you didn't know that this existed, please. The information on this is pretty, like, according to the one newspaper article, and again, thank you, Richard, for sharing this with me in advance to this hearing. So she was dating this man, seemed like kind of like a sugar daddy relationship, and this is according to the article, and it says that basically, he'd hit her up for hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. He would send it. He was a bit older than her at the time, as well, and he had a stroke. And they say when he had a stroke, he wasn't financially available. So she had actually left him. But then she was very down and out. And if you look at her picture of her mugshot, yeah, she actually looks, she looks younger here at this hearing than she does in her mugshot. And she found out that he was dating someone, and yeah, she did stalk her. Like everything the district attorney said. And on that note, this assistant DA, I've never seen her before in any of the hearings, but man, she kicked ass. She was great. Super talented. She's going places. I wish we could see her at other cases. I don't know which parish, I guess her jurisdiction. But she stalked. So he stalked her ex's new girlfriend, chased her down and shot her. One shot through the kitchen window, hitting her in the chest. As she lay dying, she identified. She said it was Tito. She said who the killer was. She said, Trisha shot me. She was supposed to be given life, but she pled down, and she got a long enough sentence where she was supposed to not be able to get parole until she was 70. I don't know what happened, but she's for some reason has chance of parole 10 years earlier. Then we're sitting here and look at, okay, so here, the judge's questions. So Tito admits killing Wynn and answered the judge's questions about whether her plea was voluntary, but she expressed no remorse. And she had left threatening messages in her phone, her boyfriend's phone. You better sleep with one mother effing eye open was one of the messages. Let me tell you something, partner. I get a hold of Judy Wynn, ain't nobody on God's green earth going to be able to make her effing recognizable. You have no idea what I'm going to do to both of you, another message said. You'll never effing see me coming? Do you hear me? That was one of the voicemails she left. And here she is talking like, oh, I don't know. I had a business deal and I went to the court. It was just a business relationship. I signed some paper and then I was walking by and I don't know, a person died. Like, what? You can't make it up. Like, you've been locked up for 20 years, lady. You're really going to come out in your parole hearing and think that that's going to work? No, you ain't on the Vegas Strip. Wow. Some people, they get so drunk on their own Kool-Aid, they just don't even realize how ridiculous they sound. And then we have the bombshell come down that they are having her testify for a 40-year-old cold case. She's being given immunity, but to testify, but it's implicating her in another second-degree murder trial. That's crazy. Man, her heart must have fell through her chest 72 hours on a Friday before her parole hearing to see that. Oh man, she must, not that she had a chance anyways. I mean, what chance do you have to get out anyways? That's the thing. Not with that approach. God. And she didn't even take the programs like victim awareness. She never even took that. What have you been doing for 20 years? She was like saying this, oh, I wanted to take sign language, but that's not available. I wanted to, but you know, what was it? Oh, she wants to work on a beach with her laptop. She's living in La La Land. It's, wow. I mean, she has it all figured out. I bet she would love to sit on the beach. What was it? Work at the bar. Like, that would be another great thing to say. I'm going to get out of prison and work at the bar on the beach. That's a great place for you. Oh man, you can't make it up. And meanwhile, they're streaming this live on YouTube, and she's about to like expose details of this case of this 40-year-old cold case that she's going to go up and testify against the accused, and this is on YouTube, so you can't make it up. Man, we're going to have to keep track of this case. I would love to find out what it is, because this is just, to me, absolutely incredible. Yeah, I mean, she had no shot getting out to begin with, but it was really like she had a shovel and she just started digging and digging and digging. It was funny. She's like, oh, I have hard of hearing, and she tried everything. She doesn't have kids because of it. It's like, oh my gosh. She was 42 when she did this. She was 42 years old. Does that make sense? She served 20 years. No, the math isn't really adding up. But maybe she was 42 when she was sentenced. But she wasn't. She could have been 40. She's turning 60 now. And she served 20 years. I mean, she wasn't even like. Wasn't like she did this when she was 20. Her full term is 2043. Man. Oof. Anyways, yeah, I'll put all the links in the description, and love to hear your thoughts on this. And also let me know if you've seen the episode before. So if you already knew what we were talking about, Discovery ID. Dumped and Dangerous, November 7th, 2017. I didn't watch it yet, but like I briefed through it, and they have like, is that the assistant DA that's recorded in it? Now I'm looking at it. Kind of looks like her. I now I have to watch it. I don't think it is. Let's see. That would be really interesting. Would an assistant DA do an episode? I don't think so. It's funny, always the actors they use in these shows. The actress, I'm scrolling through, the actress of her, they make her look like this young, like 20-year-old something, and she was not. Okay. So anyways, with that, I will let you go.